Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brett with Anvil Music and Media. So excited to have you guys. Thank you all for those who are watching the replay. This is Tuesday, man. Uh, yeah, I'm excited to get into it. Got a few things I'm going to talk about today. And I was thinking back to this weekend. I was actually transferring some files over from one of my old Macs to a new Mac. And I had started with some editing, some video editing, and you know, owning Apple products, you always have something that you can learn uh, with the newer computers. I was transferring files over, and I actually ran into a little hiccup, and I did not know. And I'm going to talk about this later, but there is there's a property or something that you have to turn off on your computer, basically to prevent your computer from storing files in the iCloud. So it's the iCloud Plus, something which I've never really run into. Normally, once I if I want to store, if I want to save something, I just save it right to my local computer. Like it, maybe somebody can fill me in on why that happened. But anyway, going into properties, I actually was able to toggle off the iCloud situation and get my files saved. But man, which sort of makes me think we forget so many times that after we have purchased a computer that we think it's all good and things are going to be cool and smooth sailing, and a lot of times that's not always the case because these technology companies are still in the business of making money. So they got you with the purchase, but you know they want to continue to have your money and keep your money. And so it was just like, wow, it was a little bit too much. um, so I ended up I ended up looking it up online, and basically what happened was the iCloud Plus was saving my files, and they only give you like 5 gigs in iCloud Cloud Plus. It's a cloud service, um, and it just what I had to do was I had to go in my settings and toggle off the iCloud option, the option to save in the iCloud, and just start saving back on my computer. But these are certain things that I'm still learning. Like this is, I mean, I've owned Apple products for now 15 years, and yeah, it's just been one of those things where like, okay, what are we doing here? And it's just a reminder that you basically are still a consumer, and don't don't sit out here and buy everything that comes up, right? Like um, the Macs I have in my studio now, they're still relatively, they're not old, but they're not new either. So, hey everybody, Ella, how are you? Taylor, hey, what's up? What's going on? Thanks for joining today. And so, yeah, I got through that, and of course the editing, the files that I have are video files. So it's like, I knew I had enough space in my hard drive. Like, I mean, I just bought the computer probably 6 months ago, and I've just started transferring those files. So let's see. Nima, hello. Ella says they keep up the work. Thanks. I appreciate it. Appreciate your support. Thank you always. Um, Another thing, I actually last weekend I had an old drive. This is a hard drive here that I can get it. Let's see where it is. This hard drive right here that I was transferring some files from an old computer to my new computer, and I had to get a cable for this because this is like one of the oldest drives that I had. So I think it was a FireWire 400 cable. So the FireWire 400 take cable to I purchased a 400 to 800. Now this is like archaic. Like these cables are like super old. Had to get some files, and what ended up happening was I had to purchase a cable to get from um, basically my FireWire to USB, um, which is it's another thing that kind of shows you that once you purchased an Apple product, you're not all the way through with purchasing or getting other items that or other accessories. And Apple accessories are it's like high, way too much money. So yeah. Let's see. We got some comments already. Asma says, "What's my name? My name is Brett with Anvil." I don't know if you caught that at the beginning. Um, so but yeah, I appreciate you guys for joining. Thanks for joining in. Um, so yeah, today I just wanted to kind of like we're just kind of just hanging out. Um, if you guys have any questions, yeah, feel free to leave that in the chat. Uh, you guys let me know how you guys are doing today. Um, and I wanted to briefly talk to you about some advances in what Apple is looking into in terms of AI technology and innovation. It looks like Apple is now switching over to from those terrible goggles, the Apple Vision Pro. Anybody anybody familiar with the Apple Vision Pro? I don't really see many people talk about the Apple Vision Pro now. Apple Vision Pro was released back in 2022, and these are the basically your augmented reality goggles. It oscillated between augmented reality and virtual reality. The goggles that cost like 2,500 bucks, $3,000. Well, that project didn't pan out very well. I want to go up to the Apple website and see if they still sell them, which I think they do. But Apple's been pushing lately. In my last video, I talked a little bit about how they're looking to expand their capabilities with Siri in AI integration, and it's not doing very well. They're having some issues. Uh, some of the employees are not too happy. So it looks like it was leaked on yesterday or a couple of days ago, that the Apple Watch is going to look like uh, to be the next Apple's next experiment. Um, Apple is trying to expand their visual intelligence, and they're planning to turn this Apple Watch into a AI machine, which is crazy, right? So Asma says I speak Arabic. Cool, awesome. Yeah, I'm speaking English. But yeah, this watch, and I don't know who has. A lot of people have the Apple Watch, but it looks like Apple is working and planning to infuse AI technology in the Apple Watch. And I mean, I'm curious as to why they're doing this, but obviously it's for expanding or expansion their visual intelligence. So it seems practical, right? Because the watch is going to be here, and you'll be able to sort of work with it from your arm. But it features like real time translation and object recognition. So I guess wherever you point your hand with the Apple Watch, it's going to recognize certain objects and kind of give you the layout of what you're looking at. Uh, they're hoping that this design is going to make your life smoother. Now, I'm curious myself to see how in the world can you go from a product on your eyes to your phone. I mean, to your watch, right? Um, imagine the battery life. Like the battery life is going to just get drained. It's just going to get drained, right? It's going to get absolutely drained. So I'm curious to see how that goes. And so it's a project that they're working on, and right now they want to try to infuse AI technology into the Apple Watch. Now I don't know. The future Apple Watch is also, it may include cameras in the start of AI push. So I don't know. We'll see. We will see how that goes. And so there's an article that talks about that there's a push to position the Apple Watch as more of AI wearable. Apple is working on multiple versions of the Apple Watch models, which include cameras, and this will help the device to see the outside world. So, and I don't know. I mean, my Apple Watch is in the other room, but I don't know what this means. Is the face going to be able to catch what's going on in the world? I mean, is it going to be some type of projection outside of the Apple Watch? I don't know if you guys seen Iron Man, but that's sort of Marvel technology and technology of the superhero world. But it says the AI push will go hand in hand with Apple's existing virtual intelligence technology, which the company intends to bring to AirPods. So it sounds like to me there's going to be some type of communication between your phone and your AirPod device. So they'll be able to kind of talk to you, maybe some type of virtual existence or virtual world between um, your AirPods and your watch, which I've heard this before, right? Um, but as for Apple Watch models and cameras, there's a report that Apple is working for both standard and ultra Apple Watch models. And with the standard watch, the camera is going to be embedded within the display. So that makes sense, right? Similar to the iPhone, but it's unclear if it would utilize under display tech, and if this will necessitate a camera cutout. So kind of cool. You have a camera on your phone, on your phone, a camera on your watch. You'll be able to take pictures. I'm kind of trying to figure out how that would work. It's like, I guess if you want to take a selfie, you turn your hand over, take it like that. The camera is going to be embedded in the iPhone. And I mean, I don't have any doubt that this is at least forward thinking in the terms of, they Apple has to do something. They've got to do better than what they've been doing. I mean, there's clearly been a shakeup in their within their company, um, which some of the Apple executives were kind of shifted around. So I think there's some positives to this. Like, there's some positives to an AI fused watch. Like, it seems very practical. It's your arm, the watch is on your arm, AI technology is right here. You use your hands, you use your arm. So um, that's practical, right? It's real time translation to object recognition to make your daily life hopefully smoother, right? I think also a good positive to this, and for those who are just joining, we're talking about the Apple iWatch and how Apple is working to infuse AI technology possibly in the watch. They're not going to be able to leave the phone behind, obviously, but they're also looking at putting um, the technology in the iPod. So, but some more positives is, of course, enhanced user experience, right? If you're going to integrate your virtual technology, the watch could become more interactive. Like, it could be more of an interactive device, and I like that because I don't. I mean, I don't really, honestly. I have an Apple Watch, but I don't use it that much. I really really don't use it that much. So Asma says I have an iPad and iPhone. So it's an iPhone. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. Awesome. Um, so some more innovations that we're talking about with the Apple Watch. The, if this does happen, if we do transition into AI technology integrated within the watch, it will definitely solidify the bond between your phone, your watch, and other Apple devices. We're keeping that loop of the Apple ecosystem going. and it's going to create a seamless experience for users, I believe. There are also possibly for possibilities for data-driven improvements, right? More data means more AI, better AI. The more data they can sort of collect, and that's pretty much what we are. That's the game that we're in. Like we're in the game of collecting data. That's what the companies do because they have to collect data about you so that they can sell you whatever you research and whatever your life looks like. They're going to try to sell you products to help further enhance your life. So those are the positives. Some downsides to this sort of watch integration. Of course, you got privacy concerns, right? Like cameras collecting data around you. You can imagine there's going to be a risk for data and privacy interruptions, and that's a natural concern, right? Because you and I as the user, we may have a problem and worry where our data is getting stored. I know certain people really have an issue even with the iCloud. I talked about that earlier in my video, the iCloud Plus, and it being a cloud base. Some people are like, well, what is the cloud? Where's the cloud? It's being stored somewhere in space, right? Which it's not. But there will be some possible concerns, and that's natural, right? That's natural to human interaction and human consumption. Consumer skepticism, their AI tool, Apple's AI tools haven't been the best AI tools. Like they haven't really resonated with Apple's user. There's a study that says that 73% of iPhone owners say that the current AI features add little to no value to their life. And but you can't say that about ChatGPT or Gemini, but Apple is really kind of behind in its technology for AI. So, um, some technical hurdles. Now, this is the big one. Like you can imagine the technical hurdles that Apple's going to have to go through. One of them I mentioned before, the battery life. Like, what are they going to do about the battery life? Because you're essentially putting all this information into your phone, and I know obviously iPhones are um, iPhones. You use an iPhone, and the iPhone battery life lasts ranges between 5 to 8 hours or 8 to 10 hours, depending on the iPhone that you have. But battery, we'll have to look out for that to see what exactly they're going to do, and they're going to have to be creative in their production of this. So, um, but one other technical hurdle is embedding cameras into your iPhone. Could you imagine that? Like, um, it's a smaller device, so how do you do that without compromising the battery life? You're gonna have to have space for the battery, a big enough battery to be in your phone. And aesthetically, it's gonna have to look like something. It's just not gonna be. You can't. Nobody wants a huge watch uh, with to and your battery is sort of like the way it's placed in your watch. It just doesn't look well. It doesn't look good aesthetically. So Apple still are running to they're still running into issues with delays on blood pressure readings, which I don't get that. Like that's sort of old technology, right? But so there's some hurdles here to this watch and AI technology. Um, so I think the other thing is a lot of times when you make a new piece of gear or equipment, you have to worry about a lot of features that may overwhelm the consumer. So if you have too many features, it is sort of overwhelming. So too many equals not using many at all, right? You can imagine all the features on your phone that you currently use, whether if you have an iPhone or Android or Samsung. Um, there are plenty of features up there that we probably will never get to or never use, just because it's too many features, right? Like you have too many options, and so maybe of course simplifying these options would help with uh, this new technology in your Apple Watch. So it's a pretty big leap for wearable AI, right? We'll have to get used to saying that, wearable AI. And these are all sort of semi rumors, I guess. I know they're working on it. Currently, it's currently rumored. Um, there's a uh, Apple enthusiast named Mark Gurman that I pretty much get my information from. He's like really well known in the Apple community, in the tech space. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. What do you think about this iPhone? Let me know in the comments. Appreciate you guys who are watching on the replay. Um, I'm curious to see where this goes. If this is going to be something that they'll have to sort of work through, because I know there is a race to sort of get Siri, which we talked about previously, a race to get Siri upgraded and updated. So we'll see kind of how that goes. Like I said, I'm not a huge not a huge Apple Watch person, but I know way back when the iPod was released, there was a push, a marketing push for the iPod. If anybody remember the iPod, it had a thousand songs in one little box, right? And their marketing was just like they marketed it very, very well. So Apple, of course, they have to work on the marketing aspect of what they're doing and not just being so technology or tech heavy that they can't market to the common person. There's always a balance that you have to juggle through, the technology piece on this side, but the marketing also, so that people they'll actually want to buy it and feel like it's worth their time and worth their money. So, but yeah, I'm kind of loving having a camera on your watch. I'm pointing to my watch. I don't have a watch on clearly, but these visual intelligence features will be sort of cool. And it's gonna depend a lot on the leadership, right? Like how creative can these can Apple be? Um, like I said, they've switched around some of uh, their leadership and those who are heading this project. Mike Rockwell is now in charge of getting the delayed Siri upgrade on track. So Siri's been delayed, seemed like for years, right? Um, I think Siri was released, or Siri debuted back in 2010 or 12. Um, but it, it it's a back it's old technology. Siri is very old technology. Some people still use Siri to this day. I know some of my fathers have told me, and we've talked about. They said how they use it. So, which is like in the home and the security features. But it'd be pretty big to have a wearable technology that you can have. It would be a switch, right? Like I would feel sort of weird and not having my phone and just having my watch, right? But how are you going to do that? Like how are they going to sort of, even with the battery? How are they going to charge? How are you going to be able to charge your watch? I guess you'll be able to charge it on the go. You have like your charging cable with you. I don't know. Will you have another piece? It'd be sort of cool to have like two different wearable objects. Maybe you have a watch here, and maybe you have another, like maybe a display sort of interface. And if you lock the two together, some type of technology. It just has they have to work on this and see what they're going to do. Um, and Apple has they don't have time to waste, because the competition is here already. Meta has glasses, Google has AR glasses, VR glasses, and you just gotta they've got to be sort of keep themselves ahead of the game. So, but yeah, we'll see we'll see. Some people are really looking forward to even Siri working on your watch, right? It should work on your watch, like, right? But I don't know. We'll sort of see what happens with that. Let me see if we have any comments. And once again, I appreciate you for joining today. How many does anybody own? Who owns the Apple Watch, the Watch Ultra? I have the I forget the brand I have, but any questions? Yep. Let's see. So yeah, as like I said, I'm always excited to see and to hear about the technologies. I am still to this day, the computers I use, I still, to believe it or not, I still use Intel Macs. And I was talking about this with a friend the other day about how, you really can't get caught up in what is the latest and greatest technology out there. You have to make sure that what you're purchasing, and I'm going to talk about this in a video probably later on. You have to recognize that, number one, you're still a consumer. So while Apple and Google and all of these huge technology companies, they're seeking to make your life better, but they're also seeking to win you over, and they want your money. So whatever they advertise to you is going to be is going to be something that you need to watch out, because um, things can seem very like, in the marketing world, things can seem very like, oh, I'm I'm gonna miss out if I don't purchase this. Oh, I won't be in the in crowd if if I don't have this product. Rather than focusing on what as a consumer, how can this product help my everyday life? How can this further me along my journey of being if you're a content creator like me, if you work in production, you do music, if you sing, if you are in graphic arts, graphic design. So you really have to keep the main thing the main thing. So that's why with the the computers that I have that I use, it's just very important for me to keep the main thing, which is it going to be efficient for me? Is what I'm using efficient? Uh, is it a system that I can grow into? I don't want to purchase something that I'm going to need to have to purchase something else in 4 months, right? And computers is definitely not something that you skimp on, right? You get what you pay. You get what you pay for. Absolutely get what you pay for. And it's just very important. And I've realized that over the years, right? I've had my ups and downs and bumps and bruises with Apple products, but for the most part, like, you know, especially if you're like me, you don't have just money to just be spending downright on every little piece of gear, every little piece of equipment. So, but yeah, that's what we have. Like, this technology seems to be moving forward. I'm sure we'll get more information about the Apple Watch. I want to call it the iWatch so bad, but I'm glad that they stopped calling things with the letter I in it. And yeah, it'll be we'll see what happens. There are already supposedly features on the iPhone with Apple Intelligence, but it's not the best intelligence at all, because nobody's using it. Nobody's really talking about it. So anyway, let's see. Let's address a few comments. Asma says, "I have an iPad, iPhone." Yes, awesome. Um, Cool. Who else do we have? Yep. But yeah, to you guys that have joined today, I really appreciate you actually joining. And we're gonna be up here on Friday, so I'm here on Tuesdays and Fridays every week, and just come and hang out with us. Uh, I've been, I don't even know which. I need to start naming the episode of which episode this is, but I've been on live for a few months, and we got some exciting things coming up. So stay tuned for that. If you get a chance, rewatch the replay of this video. Check out my channel. I've got plenty of information on Apple products. And of course, if you have any questions, like, feel free to reach out to me. Let me know what you need. I get questions from time to time, and maybe I'll do a video one day of all of the list of questions um, that you guys have, and we can kind of just go over it together. But yeah, you guys have a good one today, and I'll see you soon. Alrighty.